Questions here. Uh, if someone wanted to take a year out from work and travel abroad to learn Arabic, how would you advise them? Where would be the best place, and what would be your general advice?
The thing about going away now to study is that people just got to be real about it. The world is closing up. The centers of learning across the world are closing up. But if you are able to, and if things inshallah do not get worse, go to Egypt. Go to Egypt. In terms of Arabic language, 10 years ago, I'd say go to Damascus. Although Egypt as a center of learning Arabic is it's a lot better. But Damascus, mashallah, not only can you learn Arabic there, but you're surrounded by Ahlullah. Alhamdulillah, Egypt has that as well. There's no doubt about that. But there's something unique about Damascus. But as it is right now, Egypt, and inshallah, Egypt will remain open, inshallah. So go to Egypt, simple as that, go to Egypt, go to Cairo.
And would you recommend going to a particular institution or private study, one-to-one? What would you recommend?
There's institutions, there's many institutions, there's loads of them. Go to institutions, yeah.
Should somebody want to gain more information about this, am I okay to send them to you, inshallah? Obviously, Sheikh Harun is on Facebook. If anybody here would like to reach out to him, then mashallah, obviously reach out, ask him. Be patient now, because he's dealing with a lot of people's questions and issues. Alhamdulillah, that's something that Sheikh Harun is very famous for, being very open, and anybody and everybody will indeed ask him questions, inshallah. So alhamdulillah, it's a blessing to have him. And part of the reason for me doing this is just to showcase some of the jewels that we have around us, alhamdulillah. And I think sometimes people such like Sheikh Harun and others, they're very they won't show themselves off, sadly, which obviously it's a good thing, but alhamdulillah, but they will kind of keep themselves to themselves. And sometimes people need to ask the right question and unlock certain things. That's perhaps what I've tried to do today, is trying to present to you, the people listening, a side here of Sheikh Harun that perhaps most of us don't have an opportunity to see, by asking certain questions and tugging on certain things that I know that mean a lot to him, inshallah. So alhamdulillah. Okay, a couple more questions here. Okay, a bit of a technical question. If you could answer it to the best of your ability, given the time that remains. If every single major scholar, 2nd century onwards, followed a madhab, would you agree that it is fair to say that it is indeed the traditional approach to learning the religion?
Afwan, repeat that question again. From 2nd century onwards, what?
If every major scholar, 2nd century onwards, followed a madhab, would you agree that it is fair to say that it is indeed the traditional approach, i.e. following a madhab, to learning the religion?
Without a shadow of doubt. When you say 2nd century onwards, it was from the very beginning. Even in the blessed generations, it wasn't just people doing their own random things. Like, they would always refer back to, some would go to Sayyidah Aisha, some would go to Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. So even though at that point the formalized systems of, like the simplest way I look at it, what is a madhab? What is a madhab? A madhab is an interpretation of the Sunnah of the Prophet. That's what it is. Madhab is an interpretation of the Sunnah of the Prophet, or an understanding that's been transmitted to us of the Sunnah of the Prophet. That existed from the very beginning, but it only got formalized around the 2nd century onwards. And yeah, as the questioner says, pretty much up until recent times, that's been the accepted norm in the Ummah. Like, for me, when you say that's the traditional way, I'd say, if you look at any, within Ahl Sunnah, within the Orthodox Muslim, any scholar historically of prominence, any figure, has come out of one of these systems. The greatest minds, like religious minds in this Ummah, Al-Ghazali, Shafi'i, Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawzi, Ibn Taymiyyah, the Hanbali. And when you Imam al-Tahawi is Hanafi. So when you're looking at some of the greatest minds in the area of religion, in the area of knowledge, they are products of this system. They are products of the system. So I followed the way that served the Ummah for over 1,000 years, and then suddenly, فَخَلَفَ مِن بَعْدِهِمْ خَلْفٌ, and a generation came in recent times, suddenly discredited all of this and said it's caused our downfall. We need to abandon this. We say, oh, in the peak periods of the Muslim world, that's what produced the greats of this Ummah. Allahu Akbar.